Tribe 9 is an action RPG gacha by 2Kyo and Akatsuki Games. In this video, I want to give you my opinion and review of Tribe 9. I played through all the chapters that are currently available. I'm not sponsored by the developers of Tribe 9 to make this review. I'm going to break it down to a couple of categories, so if you want to skip around, I'll leave timestamps in the description. If I do any comparisons to another game, I'll try to keep the comparisons to within the realms of gacha games. Tribe 9 is a heavy story-based game. If you watch the anime, this game takes place roughly around 2 years after the anime's finale. You don't have to watch the anime to play Tribe 9, but there are a couple of small callbacks from events that happen in the anime. But I wouldn't say it really impacts the game's story much. I'm going to try to avoid game spoilers as much as possible. If you're a lore enjoyer, I highly recommend playing this game. Each arc has its own unique quirks and it kept the story pretty interesting. The story presentation is probably the best in the gacha space in my opinion. It has a mixture of classic visual novel storytelling format with 3D character models, along with image storytelling and character split screen interactions like Zen and Zone Zero. The characters are very expressive, to the point where I think it's over exaggerated at times. It kind of puts all of Hoyoverse's story presentation or storytelling to shame. The way they present their story sometimes remind me of that 70s shows whenever they're having their basement talk. In the beta, a skip button was present, and I don't know why the developers decided to remove it from the live game. Definitely a big negative for me, because there are parts in the game where I think they're yapping a little bit too much to get the message across or to progress the story. Thankfully, the story presentation is really good, where I don't really mind too much of a yap. This is probably just me, but a huge plus for me is when you choose a dialogue options for the main character. The main character actually voices it out. It always kind of irks me when a gacha game's MC is not voiced, but everyone else is. A nice thing about Tribe 9's story progression is you're not gated by time or account level. If you want to finish all chapters of Tribe 9 in one day, you can do it in one day, which is really nice, and I don't think it's unheard of in the gacha gaming space, at least not to my knowledge. For Tribe 9's exploration, if I were to compare it to another gacha game, it would be like Honkai Star Rail, but in 2.5D pixel graphics. Art and map design wise, it can be a hit or miss, but I personally like it. The exploration in Tribe 9 is pretty basic. You have your run, attack, and interact button. A cool feature in the overworld is you can see where other players died at. You can hover over their dead body and see their wipeout history. The wipeout history will show their level and tension cards equipped. In the map, you have destructible items and chests which you can get gears and materials from. The destructible items and chests do respawn. The game does reward you with gems by finding these graffitis. These are equivalents to chests in Hoyoverse and Wuthering Waves. There are puzzles available in the game, and some are required for you to do to progress the game. Most of the puzzles have to do with either memorization, timing, or routing. The minimap in Tribe 9 is kinda garbage. It doesn't show the map layout at all, it just kinda shows you the icons, and a lot of times it's not very helpful in my opinion. In the overworld, you can engage in combat with enemies. If you hit them first without them detecting you, you enter battle with an advantage of 2 tension. If they detect you and you hit them, you start the battle in neutral state, and if the enemy touches you, you start off with a disadvantage state with the enemy having 2 of their tension bars filled up. I'll go more in depth about tension during the combat part of the review. It is possible to engage multiple enemies at a time, but only in the neutral state and the disadvantage state. They'll come in form of waves during combat. I don't know why you can't do a preemptive strike to engage multiple mobs. It kind of makes grinding a little bit annoying and tedious, and I hope in future updates they'll allow us to engage multiple mobs in the advantage state. Tribe 9's combat is not perfect, but it is fun overall. They almost completely overhauled the combat mechanics from the beta. To my knowledge, they did not do another beta with the new combat mechanics, and I think that was a massive mistake on their part. Each character will have a primary attack, secondary attack, character unique ability, ultimate, chain skills, and counter attacks. All your party members will be on the field in combat with you, similar to Arknek's Enfield. From my experience playing, the AI teammates performed pretty well when I was progressing the story. Secondary attacks and character unique abilities are like your skills in Genshin Impact or Wuthering Waves, except they don't have a cooldown. Instead, when you perform a secondary attack, character unique ability, dodge, or counterattack, it depletes some of your stamina bar. If you run out of stamina, you won't be able to perform any of those actions except primary attack. Tribe 9 has a unique system called Tension. You and your enemy will have 3 blocks in your tension meter. When you fill up one of the blocks, you have 2 options. You can either use your character's ultimate, or you can save the tension to activate one of your tension card effects. Depending on your characters, it might cost 1 to 3 blocks of tension to use their ultimate. So what are tension cards? At first, I thought tension cards would be like your weapon, but it's not. It's more like a modifier or bonuses that activates when you meet the tension requirement. For you to build tension, you have to do chain attacks, which are only available when you break an opponent. To break an opponent, you have to continuously hit them or counterattack them. The enemy's tension meter rises every time they land an attack on you or as the battle progresses. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the tension system. From my experience playing, the rate where you generate tension is too slow and very limiting. By default, you get 50 tension per chain attack and you need 100 to fill up a block. The max chain attacks you can perform per break is 3, 1 for each character in your party. By the time I break an enemy, I can do 1 or 2 chain attacks before they die. Oh, and did I mention that your tension slowly decreases over time? Well, it does, and by the time I break again, I lose some of the progress of my tension bar. Unless it's a boss fight, it's very rare for me to generate full tension. When I look back at my gameplays, I realized it was probably better for me to use my tension for ultimates rather than building it for the tension card effects. I checked to see if there's any Pachimon stat effects that raises tension or substats that raises tension generation, and I didn't see any. Maybe it's a skill issue on my end, but I really wish they released another beta to test out the new combat changes before releasing it to the live version. The combat can be pretty punishing if you make mistakes. It's not like Zenizone Zero 1.0 where you can beat the endgame mode blindfolded. I've only used Yo, Miyu, Soroku, Koishin, and Tsuki, and from my experience, you can't cancel animations with a dash or with another action. Once you do an action, your animation lock until that action is finished. I don't think there's any invulnerability or hyperframes in any of your attacks. It feels really bad when you get punished for using your secondary attack into an enemy's attack. The dodge and counterattack windows feels very tight compared to Wuthering Waves and Zenizone Zero. There are Q flashes like Zenizone Zero, but it's more like a warning that a big attack is coming rather than press counterattack whenever you see the flash. I like this part of the combat a lot. I should get punished if I make wrong decisions, and it feels really rewarding when I learn the boss patterns and beat them. I like the character progression in Tribe 9 a lot. Compared to your average gacha game, it's less grindy overall. Tribe 9 has the standard leveling system like most gacha games, and like most gacha games, your character will eventually hit the level cap. Most gacha games will require you to spend stamina and time to collect essential materials to break the character's level cap. In Tribe 9, however, to break the level cap for your whole roster, you have to complete quests or achievements. You break the level cap once you complete a certain amount of them, so it's kind of like a one and done type of thing, which is awesome. While you don't have to grind for materials to break level caps, you do have to collect materials to raise your character's rank. The rank system is unlocked after you complete chapter 1. When you raise a character's rank, you get a skill point that can be allocated to 5 categories. The 5 categories are Fighting Instincts, Survival Instincts, Coordination, Passive Skill Expansion 1, and Passive Skill Expansion 2. You can play around your build, and skill resets are free. Tribe 9's equipment system is called Pachimon. The rarity from lowest to highest is gray, blue, purple, and yellow. If we're looking at main stat wise, they're all the same across all rarity. The difference is the number of substats available and the rarity of the substats. Yellow rarity Pachimons has substats that increases a character's skill and is only available in the yellow rarity. As you progress, higher tier Pachimons will be available. higher tier Pachymons will have a higher main stat. There are set effects, and to activate them, you have to equip 2 matching pieces. XP, shortened for Extreme Baseball, is the debate system in Tribe 9. It's like Baseball Ace Attorney. I think XP is one of those modes where you either absolutely hate it or you extremely like it. My first encounter of XP was pretty bad, and I think it's because the results and the animations were fixed. My second encounter of XP was a lot better. Your answers do matter, and there are risks of losing the debate if you don't pick the correct answer. You gain access to seeing a lot more flashy animations, and that kind of made the mode more enjoyable for me. If you're a lore skipper, you'll absolutely hate XP because there are some rebuttals that requires story knowledge. The story XP at least takes about 25 to 40 minutes, so I know it does feel frustrating if you have to start all over. Thankfully for now, you only get 1 XP match at the end of each chapter. I think XP is probably the most underwhelming part of the game, but presentation wise, it's very anime and it's high quality. Let's talk about the gacha rates and the free-to-play gems. Starting off with the gacha rates and banner, if we were to compare it to Honkai Star Rail standards, the rates on the standard banner and character banner are the same. However, the tension banner is worse than Honkai Star Rail's light cone banner. Tribe 9's tension banner is still using the 50-50 system, while HSR is using the 75-25 for the light cone or the tension. If you lose your 50-50 in Tribe 9, the next 3-star unit or tension card will be the guaranteed. Unfortunately, I don't know if the pity carries over to the next banner. I tried searching for an answer, but I couldn't find one. So about the free-to-play gems. People who play the beta stated that the game gave you a lot of gems. Unfortunately, in the live version, a lot of them were taken out. I think chests in beta used to give you gems, while in the live version it does not. I can't confirm this because I didn't play the beta. I didn't want to play the beta because I heard the combat was going to be overhauled, and I didn't want to spoil the story for myself. The player base did not take this favorably at all, and the developers got a lot of backlash for it. A lot of negative reviews was left on the Steam page. The developers did address this, and it did increase the amount of gems you can get in your Zero Sensei book. They also added gems to your daily quests. If you do your 3 daily quests a day, you get 1 pull. That's pretty good for just doing your dailies. I can't remember if there's any gachas right now that will straight up give you a single pull for doing your dailies. Usually they give maybe maybe a 1/3 or 1/2 a pull for doing your dailies. It's a step to the right decision. However, I don't think it's enough. I finished chapter 2, and minus all the dailies, the battle pass, and the event gems, I probably got about 5k worth of gems for doing the stories. That's about 40-ish pulls, and it's incredibly on the low side. If they want to retain their player base and attract new players, they need to be more generous with the gems. I also think that the banner rates also needs to be better. To give my final thoughts about Tribe 9, this game is good, but there are a lot of things that needs to be improved on. They should add back the skip button. It was a bad decision to take it out. I'm a lore enjoyer, but if there are people that want to skip a story and go into combat, let them. Give them like a short summary of what they're about to skip, like in Wuthering Waves. Grinding and combat that are not boss battles feels tedious. When grinding against trash mobs, the battle generally lasts about 30 seconds, maybe at most a minute. It's not engaging or fun, especially since you can't preemptive strike multiple enemies and you're forced to go back from the overworld to combat constantly, and it gets tedious. I think they should either add a sweep function or condense the mobs into one and have multiple waves during combat. The tension system needs massive rework. I feel like at the current state of the game, players would just ignore the tension card system and just use their tension for ultimates. I would like a 120 FPS option to be added to improve the combat experience. If I were to compare the combat between Tribe 9 and Wuthering Waves and Zen Zone Zero, or even Genshin Impact, Tribe 9 feels significantly slower. While playing Tribe 9, a lot of times I forget this is a gacha game. It feels like I'm playing a normal action JRPG. I think it's because Tribe 9 doesn't have the stamina system that's prevalent in almost all gacha games. It's a good feeling to not feel like you're getting gatekept in content. The game is good, and I highly encourage people who like lore to give it a try. If I were to rate Tribe 9 using Gacha metrics, I'd say the story would be a 9 out of 10. The storytelling will be a 10 out of 10. Probably the best storytelling in my opinion in the Gacha space. Exploration will probably be an 8 out of 10. Combat will be 7 out of 10. And the music, I personally didn't really notice too much about it. Will probably be a 6 out of 10. And if we sum and average the score together, it'll be an 8 out of 10. Again, I think this game is really good and has potential. It just has those little things that needs to be improved on, like a little bit more tweaking. The combat needs to be cooked a little bit more. But overall, I enjoy this game, and I do plan on continuing playing it, and hopefully we'll get better updates in the future. If you like my content, please leave a like and subscribe. It will help out a lot. Other than that, have a great day.